Hello everybody and welcome back to Extra Holiday Games. I'm Extra Holiday, and today we're playing something a little different. Not something you usually see nowadays. Like when people go back and play games from their childhood, they often go to PlayStation 1 or the Super Nintendo. Or even in more recent years, a 360 game maybe, but rarely ever do they go back to the PlayStation 2, which is what we're playing today. And here we have something that might give away what game we're playing. These characters might look familiar to some of you. Along with the anime-ass intro. Oh, but what is this? This doesn't look like Duel Monsters. Okay. Oh man! Look at those crazy PS2 graphics. These were really cool for the time, I swear. Ah. Right. Anyway, I think you get the hint. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelists of the Roses. And for those of you that don't know it, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh! But if you combined it with Dungeon Dice Monsters, kinda. You play on a board and you move the cards around, and it's interesting. Yeah, and it's got a lot of weird rules that aren't in the original game. However, we have narration now. The British Empire in the 1480s. The Wars of the Roses, a power struggle between the houses of Lancaster, Red Rose, and York, White Rose, to decide a royal successor, was nearing an end. While with the Yorkists well in the lead, the reign of Richard III was but a step away. And in France, Yugi, Henry Tudor, the last Lancastrian heir, was forced to live a life of exile. The Lancastrian forces were rendered powerless by ancient cards of sorcery wielded by Seto and his 7 followers, known as the Rose Crusaders. Followers who, known as the Rose Crusaders, served under the flag of Lord Crawford, a powerful Yorkist nobleman. Lacking a duelist to champion their cause, defeat was imminent for the Lancastrians. In England, duel card games were still at the fledgling stage. Thus, the Lancastrians had to look elsewhere for a duel master capable of facing the Rosencreutz in battle. With this in mind, Margaret My Beaufort of Lancaster secretly requested a high druid to summon a duelist from another age. Here we are, in Stonehenge. Oh, summon from the mystic circle of red and white roses, the one capable of harnessing pure power. There was truth to the legend of the Rose Duelist. Lady Margaret, I did it. Now we have the means for defeating the evil forces of Rosencreutz. Oh, my apologies. In my excitement, I'd forgotten I was in the presence of the Rose Duelists. Allow me to introduce. I am Simon McMorrin, High Druid and Servant of Lancaster. May I be so bold as to ask the name by which the Rose Duelist would like to be known? I would like to be known as... That's what I would like to be known as. There you go. Holiday? A fine name indeed. Now, here's the situation. The year is 1485, and you are currently in Stonehenge, near Salisbury, England. The British Empire is in turmoil, with the House of Lancaster's rightful claim to the throne being challenged by the Yorkist usurpers. The power struggle is referred to as the Wars of the Roses, a name based on the badges by both sides. A red rose for the Lancastrians, and a white rose for the Yorkists. Right now, our kingdom is threatened by the Yorkists and their wrongful claim to the throne. All because the Yorkists enjoy the support of the Rose Crusaders and their sorcerous white rose cards. Using our red rose cards, we summoned you, Holiday, to this day and age. We hope that your dueling experience would defeat the Rose Crusaders and lead us to victory. You'll help us? Of course you will. Foolish of me to even doubt where your loyalties lie. Rumor has it that only the legendary Rose Duelist stands a chance against the power of Rosencreuz. We appreciate any help you can provide against them. Before I forget, I should warn you that the rules to dueling differ here from those of your age. Here in England, dueling is governed by what is known as the perfect rule. In addition to several minor distinctions, there are also two major differences. One is the existence of movement or positioning, the other is the deck leader concept. Okay, quick question. How do you know what dueling is like in my time? Because that just seems like a strange thing for you to know, being that you're only from this time. Maybe you could just see into the future too? I don't know. But if you could see into the future, couldn't you figure out how to defeat the enemy with that power? And you know what, I'm just not going to question it right now. These are two aspects of dueling that were lost in the process when the ancient sport of duel monsters was adapted to card form. The perfect rule represents these lost rules that were miraculously revived here in England. Of course, now they want to call. Alright, that was the auto shop where my car is getting fixed. It's done now. I'll go get it after I'm done recording. But anyway, perhaps a practice duel will serve better than an explanation, shall we? Okay, let's do a practice duel, just to see what's going on here. Thank you. Finally. I'll take it up. Duel settle. 40 duels. Duel. Conditions reason 1 0. Finally. Okay. That tutorial was far too long. First, Holiday, you must select a deck to duel with. It's important that you feel the vibrations of a deck leader, the minute resonations that ring true to your soul. The cards themselves draw their power from the energies of the Ancient Ones. The deck leader acts as an intermediate between the Ancient Ones and the deck wielder. Holiday, it is essential that you select a card leader whose rhythm matches the stirrings of your soul. There are several decks from which to choose. Give it some serious thought and make your selection. Choose carefully, for the deck you select will guide the destiny of your duels. Okay. So we want Twin-Headed Behemoth, Fairy King Truesdale, or Creole. Let's go with let's go with Fairy King Truesdale. I see you've selected your deck. So that's the effect of the Celtic Red Rose cards. It looks like there's some truth to the rumor that Red Rose cards are capable of time transformation. Who's there? It's been some time since the Battle of Barnet, Old One. Rosencruz, what brings you here? Only a member of the Rose Crusaders may call me by that name. If you may recall, I told you once before that you may only address me as Seto. Or does memory fail you, old man? And you must be the dreaded Rose Duelist. I must admit, there's a certain aura of power emanating from you. I believe an introduction is in order. I am Seto, leader of the Rose Crusaders. There are members of our little group who prefer to call me by the name of C. Rosencruz. I ask you here again, what brings you here, Seto? Mind your manners, old man. What else would you bring me here? I've come for the Red Rose cards. After all, it was you who showed me how the summoning capabilities would evolve when the Red Rose cards are combined with the transport powers of the White Rose cards. You aren't thinking of attempting the forbidden Rose summoning? If so, then the Red Rose cards must never fall into your evil hands. Card sorcery taps into the powers of the Ancient Ones. By their very nature, each card is a double-edged sword that can cut both ways. The Rose cards alone harness tremendous power. There's no telling what horrors one might unleash unto the world by combining both red and white. I will sacrifice my own life if need be to prevent any from uttering the spell of doom. The spell of doom? Fool! The 16 red and white Rose cards grant power over all. Druid legend has twisted the true meaning of these cards. We Rose Crusaders have sworn to create a utopia free from the ravages of war. We intend to accomplish that with the power of the cards. And we shall do so by extending the rule of Richard III throughout the known world. By the way, it was clever of you to form a circle of red roses within the White Rose barrier to summon the Rose Duelists. But you were foolish to come alone. This area is surrounded, and if you wish to leave with your life, You will do so only by handing over the red rose cards. Me? A fool? Then what about you? Are you fool enough to actually believe the red rose cards would remain here in my possession? Right after the summoning, I had the cards dispersed among our best duelists to keep them from your tainted hands. Then you leave me with but one option. I shall enlist the aid of your precious rose duelist. You take leave of your senses. And you speak too soon, old man. Heed my words, duelist. If you wish to return to your proper time period, you will require 16 cards of the red and white roses. The red and white positions must be laid out in reverse of the summoning order to send you home. You know the spell? Since you need the 16 rose cards just as much as we do, I propose a partnership. Help us gather the cards and I shall guarantee your return after we've achieved our ultimate goal. An absurd proposal! Do you think that the Honorable Holiday would even lend an ear to your ridiculous proposal? Can you be so sure, old man? Let me see. Simon's side has 8 of the red rose cards, while my side, the Rose Crusaders, has possession of the 8 white rose cards. As the numbers are even, simple arithmetic indicates that you could side with either of us. But I'm sure you'll take into account who's winning this war. After all, who was desperate enough to summon you in the first place? I think it's quite clear which side is better positioned to send you home. Holiday, heed not the words of this power-hungry lunatic! Simon, must you resort to name-calling? I'm hurt. I'll tell you what, why don't we leave the decision to our dear duelist? After all, Simon, the duelist's future is not for us to decide now, is it? Well, yes, but... Splendid! In keeping with the tradition of the old temple gardens, I offer you a choice, duelist. Here are 2 roses. The white represents me, and the red for old Simon here. For the sake of justice, choose the red rose. Stand by my side, duelist. Choose the white rose. This is an interesting decision. Do we want to go with the winning side or the losing side? I mean, I'm tempted to go with the underdog. Yeah, that's a more interesting story. How disappointing. Oh well, you made your choice, and I respect that. For now, I will guarantee your safe passage until you've met with Yugioh. After all, I don't want our little game to end too quickly. That wouldn't be sporting. I look forward to the day when we meet again, duelist. Until then... Woo! We are in France. With some smooth jazz. Holiday, I present Prince Yugioh, last Prince of Lancaster, a true Welshman, in the hope of we who call ourselves Celts. My lord, may I present Holiday, the Rose Duelist? You serve us well, Simon. My mother was wise in summoning you from Scotland. You honor me, sire. Duelist, I am Yugioh. Actually, Henry Tudor is my name, but I find it tiresome. You may call me Yugioh. I'm sure Simon explained our situation, but it's only right that I request your services myself. I need you to return to England and put an end to the threat of the Rose Crusaders. Their white rose cards form a barrier that prevents my armies from setting foot on British soil. Although we Celts have the red rose cards, we are but inheritors who are unable to wield their full power. In the hopes of reversing our fortunes, we gambled on a druid legend that spoke of a rose duelist. According to the same legend, one must use a deck whose cost is lower than an opponent's to capture a rose card of another color. I believe that it is important that you keep this in mind. The cost of your deck should not exceed the cost of your opponent's deck. I would like you to note that our resources have been pressed to the limit, requiring us to invade England by August. My troops will land in Milford Haven, Wales, and march on to face the Enemy at Bosworth Field. Having all of the Rose Crusaders out of commission by this time would be ideal, but as that might prove difficult, any reduction of their force would be appreciated. Right then, let us part company and reunite in Bosworth. Simon will provide you with the details as to where and when we will meet once more. Back to England! Whew. Okay, now we finally get to do something. We get to choose. Okay, so we're gonna duel someone, but we're gonna do that next time. So as for this very long tutorial-filled episode, that's a wrap. I was not expecting to spend that long on the tutorial.